Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Today's podcast, we're covering the second movie in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. It's just called Spider-Man 2, so that's it.
Yes, set 2 years after the first film, Peter Parker struggles to balance his superhero life and personal life, along with the arrival of his newest foe, Dr. Octopus. Now, needless to say, things don't go well for Peter in this one, unfortunately.
Yeah, and before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and notification for the updates on future podcasts and more to pause videos.
Absolutely.
Now, seeing that we have watched these movies back to back on my birthday this year, it was a little weird to see how the mood changed for the film from the last one. I mean, it still was like a drama, but you know, it had its moments. And here, it was more like a Lifetime movie because everything went wrong for Peter, whether he was Peter Parker or Spider-Man. It's like, wow, he's been put through the ringer. Everything was just...
It's a hard knock life.
Right? Everything went wrong. I'm like, what happened? Suddenly he didn't have friends. He failed as Spider-Man. He was living pieces of Spider-Man and stuff. And I was like, man, it's like, are you like with Team Rocky? You need like some more pay or something?
He became Little Orphan Annie in this one. And he had to stay confident, get back his moxie, and become the superhero we know he is. Yeah, you're right. It was strange. I remember originally when I saw this, and I actually have forgotten how much he got dumped on until we watched it that day, and I was like, dang, I forgot about all this. Man, they were crappy to Peter.
Right.
And yeah, you're right. But I do like what happened in this one, and it's been so long, guys. There are no spoilers. Either you've seen it and you haven't. If you haven't, you need to watch it. That you finally see the ship of he and Mary Jane come to fruition, which you've really been wanting and hoping for since the comics.
Right.
And you finally got to see it on the big screen.
Right.
So that was one of the great things about this movie.
Right.
Despite all the crap he had to take.
Which was ironic because at the end of the first film, which you didn't get into in case you hadn't seen it, was that you thought she'd end up with him, and then he's like, no, I'm sorry, I can't. It's too dangerous or whatever. And then he gets the second movie, and then she's with someone else like really quickly, and then he's lingering. It's like, you said no. What the heck just happened? Did you just change your mind within 2 years?
Like, will I want it? Will I want it? And she's like, I'm not playing this game with you. I'm going on to this guy. And then she realizes that the chemistry isn't there, and it's not Spider-Man, whom she ends up learning his true identity during this movie. She tells him, I don't care. I'll deal with it. I don't care. So, but that was not the biggest part of this movie. The biggest parts, as you mentioned, were the new villains. One being Dr. Octopus, played by Alfred Molina perfectly.
Yes! And it's funny because now he's going to come back to play the role again in the No Way Home movie, which is really exciting. And in here, you have another different take on how he became Dr. Octopus. You've seen one animated series where he didn't get recognition for anything. They always took credit for his stuff, and then he just finally snapped when the accident went wrong, and he decided he's going to take revenge on the whole company. And another version we saw, he was a kid instead of an adult, and he actually ended up learning more about morality and right from wrong after they did sort of Mind Swap of Spider-Man, which was pretty interesting. So for here is that it went wrong altogether, and he lost his wife and most of his team with the accident. That was his fault, but he decided to blame the company for the problems. So like, how is that their fault? How is the Spider-Man's fault again?
But part of it was the device that he made corrupted him.
Right.
And so it took him a while to the end of the movie to realize, you know, this is what was happening. Because it was almost like with Venom, he didn't design it to do that, but somehow the tech itself helped to turn him evil.
Right. It was like, this is weird. But, you know, that still didn't change it. It was really entertaining to see. You've got some really big fight scenes in here several times throughout the film. And then you had the iconic train scene with Spider-Man trying to stop the train.
Best scenes in superhero theatrical history. It doesn't matter how many times I see it. I end up crying every time I cry. I cry when I see it, and I'm, you know, excited and anxious, and I know how it's going to turn out, but it's just so well done that you still have that same reaction when you see it like you've never seen it. And that doesn't happen with very many movies and very many scenes, but it's such a beautifully directed and written scene that you get that New York understands the importance of Spider-Man.
Right.
You find out how many people really do love him, and he never knew it. And then you even had them saying, you know, don't worry, we're not going to tell anyone.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my gosh. And then, you know, this is one of the times before it became a trope where you weren't sure if he was dead or not.
Right.
And you were like, oh my gosh, is this how they're going to take him out? Is this going to be the last movie?
Right.
Again, there were just so many elements in here that were first and that were so well done that you loved.
Right. And the people really cared about Spider-Man. It wasn't like now where everyone in New York is depicted as got some issues with everybody and anybody, and it's like, come on now, I can't be right.
Exactly.
And for here, they kind of had thrown away that trope where they were willing to help him. They pulled him back in the train. They protected his identity, and they were even willing to defend him from Octopus himself.
Yes.
They were said, if you're gonna get to him, you have to go through us.
And
unfortunately, he went through them and got Spider-Man. It's like, well, the thought counts. You tried.
Right. And they were so shunned. They're like, he's just a kid. You could hear this. You know, they were just so stunned when they learned. And I think that was another part of what made them really care more about him and willing to protect him. He was an adult. This is a kid. This is a teen who's been doing all this fighting for the city, keeping them safe. Not an adult, but a kid who's got teen problems in school and is underage and can't drink and can't smoke and can't go to clubs, but he's taking this responsibility of protecting the city he loves.
Right.
Again, it's just one of the most perfect scenes in history.
And this is what kind of started the little trope of the citizens helping back the hero, which unfortunately don't use that much anymore. Mm-hmm. They kind of either just abandon the hero or they'll have where the hero, it's supposed to be the hero is down, the citizens help the hero back. But now it's like the heroes are so weak now, or they do stuff that's just uncharacteristic that the citizens gotta come in and save them from themselves, because it's like you're paying them as they can't handle being a hero. So it's really sad how they changed something that was so iconic and actually a trope you didn't mind seeing no matter how many times you saw it into that. But you can never forget, this is the movie that started, and it's one of the most iconic scenes in film and superhero history, as you said.
Definitely. And you were happy that he got a happy ending.
Right.
Or a happy ending. And because you weren't expecting it when you first saw this movie, you really weren't expecting this to go well for him at the end. You were like, oh gosh, this is not going to turn out well for him. But it does. And you're happy.
Right.
And again, one of the most famous ships in history gets to come alive. Mm-hmm. And Doc Ock gets his retribution. Not his retribution. He gets his
redemption.
Thank you. He gets his redemption, and you're glad because if you remember when you first introduced to this character, he and his wife, you love the relationship. You love how he was really just happy and optimistic about his creation and what it's going to do for mankind. He wasn't a bad guy, and he was corrupted through his creation. So him getting a redemptive arc was fitting, and you were very happy for that redemption.
Right.
So, we know you guys have seen Spider-Man 2. If you haven't, again, you need to watch it. It is one of the best Marvel movies made, number 1 and number 2. And unfortunately, they're not on Netflix. I don't know if they're on Prime. I don't know if they're on Hulu. They probably are on Disney Plus. So, if you have Disney Plus and you've never seen Spider-Man or Spider-Man 2, give them a watch and let us know what you think in the comments below if you have.
Right. And be sure to like, subscribe, and notification bell to get updates on future podcasts and more Paws videos.
Absolutely. And let us know, what are you looking most forward to in the multiverse movie that's coming up with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, and all of them being together in this movie.
Right.
Let us know what your biggest hopes are and what you really are looking forward to seeing, and you hope that they cover in this movie.
Right. And be sure to like, I'm sorry.
Be sure to like, subscribe.
Hey, do it twice or 3 times if you can.
Vasco really, really wants you to.
Right? So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace.